So I realized that people can only meet us where they've met themselves, okay? People with emotional unavailability, that's directly tied to colonial violence. It's not about them, it has nothing to do with us, and it's really about us all accepting the mirror effect that has taken place naturally in relationships, and also not taking this fear from colonial violence personally. And so that early feeling, the subtle character deprivation, the way someone can't hold emotional space, the limitations they may try to place on your full expression, that's not just an interpersonal limitation. It's always a reflection of a bigger history. Okay, colonization taught people to shrink, to control, to limit the natural flow of self-expression. Systems of power have taught people to define what's acceptable, to judge vulnerability, to punish authenticity, and those patterns show up in our friendships and our relationships in the way that people relate or don't relate to us specifically. So that early red flag of uncomfortable inconsistency or avoidance tendencies, that's not something to ignore, okay? It's something to pray about, to observe, to give space for, without abandoning yourself, and leave room for what can grow. Most desirable outcome would be growth through accountability, but people who are maybe comfortable with their own pride, who are not ready to face these parts of colonial violence within themselves, they will escape what your mirror brings up in them. They may still come around later, but it has to be in a more mature and balanced way through full radical acceptance of human nature. So yes, some days personally I feel like water, flowing, soft, gentle, lazy even, letting life unfold without forcing, cooking, resting, moving through the world with ease, very feminine, soft, gentle. Even the innocence of a lamb surfaces because that's who I am in my heart. And yet other days I feel like the fire in spiritual warfare, focused, fierce, confronting manipulation, dismantling deceit, moving with authority, one day soft, the next day fierce. And I'm the same woman in both of these expressions, and it is okay to move accordance to God's nature. The more I allow myself to flow through all the versions of myself, the more I could rely on God's thoughts being my thoughts, okay, God's heart being my heart. And yes, our Creator is a righteously angry warrior badass who will flip the tables and shoot people with lightning when necessary. And yes, our Creator is a miracle worker with unconditional love. Through unconditional love, these miracles take place. This is the true radical acceptance of love and law, receiving all parts of us, okay? And if people are judging this perception and your expression, okay, then it is an addiction to duality, colonial damage, most likely tied to New Age spirituality. And it's not all love and light, okay? It's also conception of justice taking place through a force greater than man, than our fragile egos can understand, okay? Not through abuse of power, but for the purpose of liberation. It took me a long time to stop judging myself for these vastly different expressions I have had throughout my lifetime. The earth isn't water all the time, right? It floods, it freezes, okay? There's volcanoes that burn, that erupt, disasters happen, beautiful creation is built from ashes. Our nature is directly tied to human nature. Our nature around us is directly tied to how we express ourselves. Radical acceptance of this is simply letting ourselves exist fully, without shame, letting go of the colonial people-pleasing and being completely okay with the soft and the fierce, the restful and the intense, the motherly and the warrior, the tender and the holy, right? Because colonization trained people to fear their fullness, to shrink, to limit their humanity. But our work is to reclaim this fluidity that is our human nature, to rest when God says to rest. When God's grace allows all of us, the lion and the lamb, we must receive all parts of ourselves to exist in one body, one heart, one mind, one spirit, one movement forward into evolution. So if you've been rejected for being too much one day and not enough the next, if people have tried to contain you, limit you, gaslight your humanity, know this: there is nothing wrong with your full range. There's nothing wrong with the flowing like water one day and burning like fire the next. That is not duality, that is wholeness. Balance isn't choosing one version of yourself, okay? Balance is letting all of you belong inside of your expression, letting all of you belong inside your life's experience. And every part of you that expresses anything is sacred. Every part of you is enough. Every part of you is connected to creation. So decolonize your mind and reclaim your medicine today. All of your medicine. Aloha.